It's Shannon here. It's Thursday at 11, so you know what that means. It's Teen Thursday, and we've got some really cool books coming out this week. Not near as many as last week, so thankfully we won't be here for like a year while I tell you about every book known to mankind. So, but we've got some great stories that are still coming out this week, most of which are actually going to be in the contemporary world. I know for a little bit there we went kind of on we had a lot of fantasy coming out, but it's been a very heavy contemporary summer, which I feel like is kind of traditional for summer. We get a lot of those like actual real life adventures, but we do have some really cool stories that are good conversation starters or like fun, just like fun, exciting opportunities to like relive some experiences or live them for the first time. So I'm really excited about everything that's coming out this week, and I'm over here. I just called myself an us. I was about to say join us for book talk time, but I'm just one person. So if you guys have any questions about any of the books last week, any books this week, any events coming up, just pop them in the comments, and I will try to pay attention to all of them as they come through. And then hopefully you guys will find some new books that you need to read. Yes, Blair said books mankind's true best friend. Absolutely, Blair. This is the best of friends. You can put them on a shelf when they're making you mad and come back to them later. So that's really the best kind of friend that you can have. So to kick it off with, we do have a couple of events coming up. July is kind of a really big. We have kind of had a little lull for a bit in there for YA happenings at BookPeople, and then it went crazy because we had Jennifer Donaldson, and then we had Stephanie Garber, which thank you to everybody who came out to both of those events. I know we got all of the Stephanie Garber swag given out, so you guys must have been having a rocking good time at that event. And thank you so much for attending. For things coming up in July, for one, we are doing writing camps for the summer. They are for different age groups. We have one for kids in kinder through third grade, and then we have one for kids in fourth through sixth grade, which I believe is actually already sold out. So thank you to everybody who signed up for that. And then we have a teen one. So if you are in the seventh grade all the way up to like 19, and you want to come and work on your writing skills, we're going to be having some camps for those. I'll be there talking about everything from character development to world building, to how to just like plot out your story. And then much cooler than having me there talking to you about how to do all those things, we have a bunch of authors who are going to be coming in for each age group that will be talking about their experience writing their books, plus just some cool tips and some great facts about how you can get started on your story or how you can get into the publishing industry and things like that. So if you are a parent of somebody any of those ages, or you are a kid or teen any of those ages, it's going to be a lot of fun. So come join us this July. It starts the second week and it runs through the end, and each of the weeks are listed as with which grades they are on our website. Other than that, we have some good, amazing author visits coming up. I'm really excited. We have Carrie Fontaine coming, and Carrie is the author of I'm Not Missing, which I have been on this, like, I need to start reading YA thriller exclusively for at least like a week kind of kick, because there is so many coming out, and there are so many that come out this year, so many that came out at the end of last year, and I feel like I need to catch up because there's just like so many great books, and every time I'm like, this one, guys! So I really need to catch up, and this one, I'm Not Missing. It's set in the desert of Las Cruces, Mexico, and it's the debut novel. Carrie is in a lot of poetry and in a lot of poetry anthologies and things like that, but this is her debut actual novel. And this book is all about stepping out from the shadow of your bigger-than-life best friend. Miranda's mother abandoned her. She took everything with her, and Miranda found shelter with her best friend, who was like, this is great, like, you're fine, our mother's abandoned us, but, like, we're going to be fine on our own. Well, then Sid runs away, and all of a sudden, Miranda is once again abandoned, and she doesn't know why Sid left and where Sid is, and she's found this discarded pink leopard print cell phone, or Sid's phone, And there's a single text message containing a mysterious hymn. And so Miranda's like, what's going on? Like, um, did she really run away? Did something happen to her? How do I like live my life in a way where I'm just as adventurous as this friend who's like gone out and done all these things? And as she like kind of unravels Sid's story, she kind of unravels herself. So it's going to be a really great one. Come support a local author. Carrie does live here in Austin, so it'll be great to support an author who is local, who's writing an own voice, and who doesn't want just a great, fantastic debut novel. And I can't wait to see it. So you guys definitely need to come and check that out because it's going to be a fun time. And that is going to be on, because I just was. That's on Thursday, July 12th at 7 p.m. She'll be speaking and signing. For those who don't know, because I get asked this question a lot, no, you do not have to buy your book or your ticket or a ticket or anything in advance. You can come that day. Of course, we encourage you to buy the book so you can get it signed. So definitely come see Carrie, buy the book, get a new awesome title that you've never checked out before from a new author. We also, on Saturday, July 21st at 2, we'll have David Bowles here, and he will be speaking and signing for Feather Serpent Dark Heart of the Sky, which is a retelling of the myths of Mexico. So it's a lot of the folklore and a lot of the myth of the story of Mexico and how it was created, and some of the other myths in there. So it's going to be a really great one. David Bowles, Saturday, July 21st at 2. And then Sunday, July 22nd at 2, this one is the one that I have been really excited about and I can't wait. Ashley Herring Blake and Brandy Colbert are going to be here, and these are the authors of Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World and Little and Lion, and we are going to be having a great conversation about identity in yourself, about the LGBTQ in the teen and tween world. So this is a great middle grade teen crossover for the books. They've kind of both hit in that little area, and this is going to be a perfect conversation starter for how we tell those stories in these books and how we get those conversations rolling and those ideas across. Plus, if you guys have not read those books, they're both amazing. Ivy was just absolutely wonderful, and Little Lion had so much buzz and was such a great book kicking off. So you guys definitely need to pick up both Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World and Little Lion, and then come meet those authors and see them in conversation with each other. It's going to be great, and that is July 22nd at 2 p.m. Two great authors at one experience. So, all kinds of awesome things, and those are all the events that are happening. As usual, we have tons of other fun things like book clubs and stuff like that, which for those of you who attend or are in the Second Star to the Right Young Adult for Adults book club, we will not be meeting in July. We'll be back the first week of August, which is actually August 1st, so it's super easy to remember. And we'll probably be reading a thriller because that's what I'm obsessed with right now. So, that said, let's get started on what's coming out this week. Reaper at the Gates is out. I'm going to start with this because this is my big fantasy that we actually had this week. Everything else is kind of a little more contemporary, a little more in that realism kind of thing. So, A Reaper at the Gates, this is the third book in the Ember trilogy. If you guys have not started reading that before, it's Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night. It's Sabah Tahar. It's a wonderful series that's just, everybody's talking about this. Washington Post called it a perfect summer read. It's an Entertainment Weekly summer read pick. It's just it's all kinds of buzz because it's been made in this rich fantasy world. Talk about world building. This is one of those examples that we'll probably use in class that has some really extraordinary world building. But this is the third book in the series, and at this point, everything is a disaster. If you guys read a lot of YA books, you know that there's something called second book syndrome. And second book syndrome is when you have those big fantasy trilogies or even longer stories. The first book always leaves you yes, I gotta know what happens next. And then you read the second book and everything goes wrong and you're just no, I have to wait and I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life and it's going to be horrible and I don't know who's alive and who isn't. And then you get your third book and you hope that it's going to answer all your questions, but it usually doesn't. And usually just gives you more. And I feel like that's kind of where we're going to be with this one because everybody is in a different spot. War is coming. We have Helene the Blood Shriek is desperate to protect her sister's life and the lives of everyone in the Empire, but there's danger on all sides. The Emperor is haunted by his past and becoming more unstable. The Commandant is capitalizing on the volatility of the power and the world being in this disarray. And then you've got Leia of Sarah. She knows the fate of the world, doesn't lie with the martial court, but she doesn't care. She's got to stop the Nightbringer. But there's new threats and all kinds of chaos ensues. And then of course there's still the land between the living and dead. Elias has given up his freedom to serve as soul catcher. And in doing so, he vows to an ancient power that demands his complete surrender, and it means he's going to have to abandon the woman he loves. So, like I said, second book left us with oh my God, nobody is happy, nothing good is ever going to be right in the world again. And third book is going to pick up where that left off and lead us into probably darker places. But this book series is amazing. You definitely want to pick it up. I told you guys last week, I think it was, that anytime a book has a map at the beginning, you know the world is going to be epically built, and this is a good example. Also, it has her initials embossed in the cover, and you can't see it because it's black and the lighting is like super fluorescent here. But that's just the coolest thing ever. So check this out. This is our one big fantasy this week. If you haven't started the series yet, yes, you can come pick up all of them. The Ember in the Ashes is a Teen Press Corps pick all the time. There's always someone on the Teen Press Corps who is obsessed with Ember in the Ashes, or Torch Against the Night. Either one. So the series has been running for a while, and there's never a slowdown on it. Everybody still loves it. Yeah. Cindy said, you'd love to hear that I read a book a day. You're a voracious reader, but it takes you a few days. Sometimes it takes me a few days. I have this trick because I do read really fast. If I'm reading a book, I want to just read the whole thing. I just read We Are All That's Left in a day and a half maybe. But it was such a good book. I talked about it a couple weeks ago on the live stream, but We Are All That's Left is about, it's a dual point of view between a girl who is alive now, and her mother and her brother are a victim of a terrorist attack. They get bombing at a farmer's market, and the mom ends up in a coma, and the girl ends up hurt. And the girl realizes she knows nothing about her mom, and she really wants to have the opportunity to get to know her. And so the POV switches back and forth between the girl now and dealing with all of her trauma from the terrorist attack, and the mother's experience being a teenager during the Bosnian War in the 90s. And it's such an absolutely beautiful story. But I read that one, I could not follow my own rule, which is, because I read books so fast, what I do is I pick a book that's going to be my book, and I can only read it when I go to the gym. So I have to, it makes me do more cycling, biking at the gym because I want to keep reading, but it also makes me slow down on my reading. So that's kind of there's one book at least during the week that I don't power through, and it's the one that's my workout book. And I usually rotate those out every 2 days or so. But holy cow. Great book, by the way, just throwing that in there. We Are All That's Left, Carrie Arcos. It's so good. And she worked with a lot of people in the 90s and throughout since then that are from Bosnia and were Bosnian refugees. So it's just a beautiful story, and I love to hear people who have that experience tell those stories. Next up, we're going to switch into some more contemporary style books. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of heaviness and a lot of it's one end or the other for the contemporaries this week. You're either a really heavy book or a really, really crazy fun book. So we're going to see, and even the crazy fun ones kind of have a lot of heaviness to them. It's just a really heavy week for books, I guess. So to start with, All That I Can Fix, which is books by Crystal Chan. And I love the back blurb of the book. What do a runaway cheetah, a John Lennon poster, a girl named George, a pair of jeans riddled with question marks, and Jell-O have in common? Crystal Chan's life-affirming new novel, All That I Can Fix. So with this book, and a teen boy's world gets turned upside down when a zoo of exotic animals takes over his small town. Um, First of all, you had me at zoo. I love animals, so I was like, this is gonna be great. But this is, um, it's listed. It's another debut novel, and I think no, it's not. Just kidding. It's not a debut. I lied. This is from acclaimed author. I just told you it's from Crystal Chan. Crystal Chan has done great work in the past. She's an acclaimed author, but this book is perfect for fans of Sean David Hutchinson. And in this book, there is the main character, Rooney, and he's from a mixed-race family. His dad tried to kill himself. His mom's addicted to pain pills. His sister's known as, like, the town genius. Um, all of this, like, has kind of put him, like, on other people's radars for the wrong reasons. And then, if, like, all of that could not be enough, the exotic zoo owner down the street decides to shoot himself in the middle of the night. And before he does that, he has, like, the idea to let all of the animals go. So now cheetahs and tigers and lions and I want to say bears, oh my, but there's no mention about whether or not there are bears. All these animals are set free in the town. And so he's like, now there are animals. So there's overnight, like, news crews, gun control supporters, gun right advocates. All of these people are covering everything. There's rallies and anti-rallies. Nobody to, like, do anything about it. It's kind of Rooney's thing is that, like, everybody is, like, talking about it, but nobody's doing anything about it. And his parents aren't doing anything about it, and his sister's terrified because there are now roaming lions wandering around, and his best friend wants to go on this, like, suburban safari, and there's just so much, like, falling apart around Rooney, and actual literal, like, monster-style animals, like, are invading his tiny town. And so he has to figure out, like, what to do with his family, what to do with his friends, and what to do with the giant cheetah and lions and tigers that are taking over everything, which I'm really curious to see. How do you deal with animals, like, running around? Like the book Animal Farm. This is definitely not like Animal Farm. The animals don't talk, and the political side of it is probably a little more obvious, less obvious, more obvious. I don't know. Animal Farm is really, really obviously political, but these are actually, like, people starting rallies and everything. So let's hope that there's very little, like, talking pigs trying to take over the world in this book. But yes, I secretly hope that he gets a pet tiger that's just, like, super cuddly and everything, but I don't think that's where the story is going. Next up, we have The Fall of Innocence. And remember I told you we've got some super heavy books. This one was, like, moderately heavy compared to The Fall of Innocence, and All That I Can Fix definitely has some heavy moments. The Fall of Innocence, to tell you how heavy this book is, the blurbs all call it The Lovely Bones Meets 13 Reasons Why. So let that sink in for a minute, because this is going to be super haunting and tragic and everything else that you could possibly imagine from a book that's called a combination of those two. But it's a great way to open up the conversation. Like, I kind of think that this would be great to pair with the Speak graphic novel. If you have not already read Speak, or if you have read Speak, pick up the graphic novel. That's another great way to see that story told, or get both. But this book, it's all about dealing with how your personal tragedy not only affects you, but how it affects your family and your community as well. And this book is it's by Jenny Torres Sanchez, and what happens in it is it's 8 years before the book started. The main character, Amelia, was attacked. She was attacked in the woods behind her elementary school, and she spent the last 8 years trying to push down the memories of what happened. And she talks about the feeling of the twigs and her blood, and tasting her blood, and her inability to scream. And she's worked really hard to forget the person that was responsible for attacking her and everything that's happened. And she talks about how the crows kind of watched over her, and she feels like the crows are still like helping her, like on her side, encouraging her to live fully. And she's got love and supportive mother, and she's got an amazing brother, and she's got a caring boyfriend. So she feels like she can move on and like kind of get over these things that happen to her and push them. She's really pushing it down, but she's gonna say she's like trying to move on and get over it. But something comes to light, and she finds out new information about her attacker's identity that changes everything that she's believed for the last 8 years. And so while she's been trying forever to push all these memories down, all of a sudden she has to be confronted by them, and she has to deal with the fact that what she thought happened wasn't necessarily all that happened, and there's changes. And it's a book about like how truth shifts and how you have to deal with your past and how you have to deal with your family. It's called compulsively readable, but it is definitely tragedy, and it kind of focuses on that fragileness that we all have inside of us. So we necessarily like don't deal with it the same. Like we don't necessarily deal with things. We kind of just hide from the feelings that we have, and when you are forced to actually deal with them, what does that look like, and how do you actually handle it? And so, like I said, 13 Reasons Why and Lovely Bones is definitely going to be one of those where it's not going to be like your lighthearted, like feel good book, but it's going to be really good, really great to like dive into the story and kind of have that moment where you can come to terms with how you deal with like the frailties of humanity. Tell Me No Lies. This is one of those books that I've been hearing about for a really long time, so I'm glad it's finally out. And I love all the bright colors on it. I had to open the book. If you guys watch this live stream every day or every week, you know that I have to always check to see if there's anything cool on the inside. But this is Adele Griffin, and she's the author of Be True to Me. And the tagline for the book is everyone is hiding something. And if you've watched the live stream before, you know that one of the things I say that I love all the time is unreliable narrators, and that whole like what's really happening kind of story, because too often like we have everybody like they just kind of the narrator lays everything out and you always know exactly what they're thinking. And I love when stories are about like all this convoluted like disaster, because that's real life. But also like it's great to see like at the end of the day, like was the narrator the reliable one or the unreliable one. And in this book, Lizzie is a senior in high school, and she's finally coming out of like her awkward shyness, and she's decided that she's going to be a part of the social scene. So she decides to get in a relationship with her longtime crush. Kudos to her for just deciding that and then it working out. Magic of books. But I love that she like goes for it. She gets what she wants, and then she becomes best friends with this reckless senior transfer student named Claire, who's like, hey, let's go to clubs. Let's be a part of the art scene. Let's get a part of the street life. It's gonna be great. And so soon, all of Lizzie's like prep for like Ivy League schools and for actually being a responsible teenager have all gone out the window, and suddenly Lizzie's only focused on art and partying and things like that. But as soon as things seem like they're perfect and awesome, she realizes that everything is not as it seems. There's suspicion. Sometimes she thinks that her and her boyfriend Matt are soulmates, and sometimes she thinks that that he's hiding something and that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with her. And so she's like, I don't really know like what's going on with that. And then Claire seems to be like this weird girl who's hiding something as well, and like she starts to tell her a little bit about it, and then she pulls back really fast, and so she thinks there's some like big secret that Claire is hiding, that is the reason why Claire has moved there. But nobody's talking to Lizzie, and she's really insecure about like what's going on, and she's really nervous. And then she finds out that like she doesn't. Then we see that Claire starts to not tell everybody like what's going on, and things just start to shatter. We start to see like all the delicate bonds of love and friendship kind of like fall apart. But guys, you can't tell from the bright neon colors. There's another twist. This book is set in the late 80s, and I'm really curious to see what that looks like. And I really hope that everybody's wearing like their hair in a side ponytail, and that they've got like crazy colors on, and I just really need there to be a lot of John Hughes references if this book's going to take place in the 80s. But we'll see. But this book it's Adele's voice is called authentic, and just in the table, like it's just this real fresh voice, and it's a heart-racing novel that's going to take you on a journey through rebellion and the complications of first love and the 80s, and so I'm really excited to see where that book goes. And like I said, I've been hearing buzz about it. I actually was shocked that it just came out because I've been hearing buzz about it for so long, but I thought it was already out. Like, so really, really excited to finally get like hands on this book. So next book is called Freshman. So a lot of people don't realize that the YA world does go up through parts of college. If you've read like Fangirl or things like that, we see a lot of stuff that takes place in the freshman year of college for a lot of the students. And so I think it's great when we get those books because I feel like that's kind of an age range that gets forgotten a lot more. And Freshman is a laugh-out-loud realistic portrayal of freshman year in college. So I'm assuming somebody gains like a ton of weight and somebody binges on ice cream in the cafeteria every day, because that's what I did in my freshman year. Not the weight part, but the ice cream part. My freshman year of college, we had both soft serve and regular like ice cream that was just, you could eat it whenever you want. And I was too busy asking myself whether or not I could to determine whether or not I should. And I ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner almost all the time. So I really hope that that's in here because that's what I think freshman year of college looks like. But Phoebe she can't wait to get to college. She's on her own, discovering new things. She has no curfew. She's free. She'll be totally different. She's going to be cooler, prettier, smarter, the perfect potential girlfriend. I feel like she's just like ready to experience life in this new way. And of course, it conveniently happens that the only person that she knows from her hometown is her lifelong crush, Luke. And Luke's not trying to redefine himself, but kind of ends up doing it. He dumps his longtime girlfriend who didn't go to school with them. He pretty much changes everything about himself. And then when things start looking up, the two start hooking up, and then, of course, drama happens. So rumors swirl about the Wall of Shame, which is a secret text chain run by Luke's soccer team filled with compromising photos of girls. And the women on campus determine to expose the team and shut down the account. And the two start to like figure out where they fall in between this. And what I love about this is it says there's an absence, like readers have said that there's an absence of the mean girl thing, like the girls bond together. Instead of going like feeling that competition and like being incited by that, the girls actually bond together and work against the stupidity of these freshmen or these college boys who are putting them all on this ranking system. And I kind of just in my head just see like the beginning of The Social Network where they're like ranking the girls like online. It kind of feels like that. Except these girls are all going to take them down, and these guys probably are not going to hear, they're not probably going to invent the next social media service. That's crazy. Awesome forever. But, oh, thank you, Blair. Speaking my truth, Froyo and I have a deep relationship due to freshman year at ACC. I am so glad that somebody else spent their freshman year of college just eating ice cream. I swear I like went to class, but I probably took an ice cream cone with me every time. So I'm glad that we could bond over ice cream, Blair. If you ever need an ice cream buddy, you know where to find me. Other than that, guys, we've got this book right here underneath, The Reaper in the Night, which is called Far from the Tree. And this book, this book is by Robin Benway, which is she's a National Book Award and New York Times bestseller. But I told you guys that this one was called 13 Reasons Why meets Lovely Bones, and I thought like there could be nothing sadder. This book is being said, like described as perfect for fans of This Is Us. So if you really want to be depressed, put on This Is Us and then read Far from the Tree. But what it really means, it's a great story for a family. There's 3 different teenagers in this story, and they were all adopted. And the three teenagers, like one of them decides that she wants to find her family, and so she finds out, and she was always an adopted only child, but then she finds out that she's actually the middle child. And that sucks on its own to go from being like an only child to being the middle like child. But she's gone and she's found all of her like sisters and her sister and her brother. And her sister is the loudmouth one. She's the youngest sibling. She was the snarky brunette in a house full of chipper redheads, and she's searching for traces of herself in not quite strangers. And so when she finds out that like her adopted sister is looking for her, she's really excited, but she kind of wants to figure out like where that place, like where she belongs, both with like her adopted family and with her sister. And then their older brother Joaquin has no interest in bonding with them. Just because they share a mother doesn't mean they have to share anything else. He's been in the foster home system his entire life, and it's really just jaded from his experiences and doesn't believe that his like family is here to save him or anything good could happen. So it's kind of a great story that talks about important issues like teen pregnancy and the foster care system and adoption, but it's also, like it said, great for people who are fans of stories like This Is Us and Parenthood, because you get to see those intricate stories of family be woven together and things like that. So there are two books, that's all from this week, but there are two books from last week that I missed because remember we had the stack of books that was like 16 high. Apparently it should have been like 18 high and possibly even 20. So I do have two books from last week that I just wanted to share with you really fast. One of them is Dear Rachel Maddow. And this book is, it's about a high school girl who's dealing with school politics and life after her brother's death. And the way she handles it is she writes letters to Rachel Maddow. And this is a YA debut novel, and I think what a great like way to kick it off is a story about how you email your hero, and your hero is Rachel Maddow. And so that is like the one steady force that's been in this character's life forever. She's been watching Rachel forever. She's doing a school project on her. So she just starts writing her emails, and then she actually gets a response. Or she starts writing to Rachel for a school project and actually gets a response. So Bryn starts deciding that she's going to draft more emails to Rachel about her actual life instead of about the school project. And so Bryn is telling her about her breakup with her first serious girlfriend, about her brother's death, about her passive mother and her evil stepfather, how she's stuck in remedial courses at school, and how she wants to drop out. And then she's confronted with the moral dilemma, and one student representative will be allowed to have a voice among the administration in the selection of a new superintendent. And it's either her or her arch nemesis Adam and her ex-girlfriend Sarah. These are the three people who are candidates. Or those people believe only honor students deserve to be on there, and they're the candidates, and Bryn feels like she deserves a voice as a student as well. So she has to ask herself a very important question: what would Rachel Maddow do? And so it's just a cute, fun book, and it's a great way to like talk about like exploring world with your hero and seeing like putting those words out there. Sometimes we don't need somebody to be listening to us. We just need to have somebody that we can kind of like the boy to talk to. And so yeah, and it's great. Like you just never hear about somebody's hero being Rachel Maddow, and so I think it's a really adorable story. And then this book, Neverworld Wait. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this book last week. This has actually been recommended by one of our booksellers, Rachel. She was really excited about it, and the back of it is, I was going to be stuck here forever, here in the Neverworld, where I'd never grow old, never have a family, never fall in love. I was a ticking clock in a timeless world. And I have to check to see if there's anything. There's a clock, and it says like how many minutes are left, and it's kind of cool. But this is Beatrice and her 5 best friends were the cool kids, the beautiful ones, and then they had the shocking death of Jim, their creative genius, and Beatrice's boyfriend. And so after graduation, Beatrice is returning to Wincroft, the seaside estate where they spent so many nights sharing secrets, precious plans to change the world, hoping to get to the bottom of the dark questions gnawing at her after Jim's death. She suspects that her friends know so much more than they ever let on, but as the night plays out in a haze of awkward jokes and unfathomable silence, Beatrice says she's never going to really know what happened. There's a mysterious man There's an impossible time for them has become stuck, snagged on a splinter that can only be removed if the former friends make the harshest of decisions. Now Beatrice has one last shot at answers and at life. And so begins the Neverworld wait. So it's just really cool. If you had all the time in the world to figure out what happened and to make the right choice and the right decision, what do you do with that? And do you want to have all that time in the world? I mean, if you could stop time, would you really want to? Would you want to be stuck in this permanent spot forever? It's kind of the age-old question, do you really want to be a vampire? Because you want to be stuck in one age forever. And if so, I'd love to know what age you would pick to be, because and why. Because it's really hard to imagine being stuck in one spot forever and never getting to grow older and experience the different things that come with different stages of life. But yeah, so that's what we have. Sorry I missed those 2 big books last week, but they're still here and you can still check them out. Like I said at the beginning, there's a ton of events going on this next month. Writing camps in July. We've got all of those incredible events coming up that we have, David Bowles on the 21st. We have Ashley Herring, Blake, and Brittany Colbert on July 22nd. These are July 21st and July 22nd. And then July 12th, we have Carrie Fontaine. So lots of events coming in July. If you don't already check our BookPeople website regularly, you should, because new events are announced all the time. If you come into the store at the beginning of each month, you can get our newsletter, which has a giant calendar, which will tell you everything you need to know for the month, from book clubs to author visits to things like that. And then, as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and here on Facebook so that you can check all your Teen Thursday amazingness each week at 11. And then follow us on the blog where you can see more details about all of these books as well as other things coming up. And then, of course, follow the Teen Press Corps blog. You can find it through the BookPeople link, where actual teenagers tell you why all of these books are amazing instead of me. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. It may be a little bit different because I will actually be at a publishing convention in New Orleans. So the live stream will be a little bit different next week, but I promise there will be something to tell you about all of your great books. So don't miss out on that, and every week at 11 here on Facebook and throughout the day on Instagram and our blog. Thanks for watching, guys.